Okay, so I don't know where this video is going to go. Maybe give me a break man, give me a flake man. But hi everybody, this is Victor.
I'm Charlie.
It's Charlie. On YouTube he's Nichibei Trader. And he's visiting from America.
Correct.
America. And we can't tell you exactly where he came from because a lot of you morons out there are just going to try to get his docs and then crank call him. Especially the women. Okay.
Don't need any of that.
So, Nichibei Trader is an interesting. I'm used to calling him Nichibei Trader.
That's fine.
It's interesting. He's one of my first subscribers from, I guess, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago when I first started. Yeah, my anniversary is coming, so I'll give you. I'll post an address so you can send presents. Maybe I should beg too. Well, I'm not editing. It's funny how I turn on the camera. You see
e-begging. E-begging. Right, that seems to be a
no-no.
Right.
A no-no. But it's okay if you insult your subscribers at the same time. Apparently that's the way you do it. You insult them and then ask them for things. But actually, the reason we're going to make this video today, it's a good opportunity because we both get the same question, which is, how did you learn Japanese and how can I learn Japanese? And we thought we would give you both of our perspectives because his Japanese is actually very good and has survived, although you've been back in the States for how long?
16 or 17 years.
And his Japanese still has a very nice accent, not the annoying Gaijin accent that many of us have. So I thought I would let you hear his story about how he learned, and I'll interject maybe occasionally, because I am a camera whore. I'll interject occasionally with
what I did.
What I've done.
My first interest was in college, and as I told Victor, went to Kobe on a homestay program and became interested in Japan. At that time, it was the late 80s and everything was booming here. They were buying up all of the United States.
In those days, how did you get into a homestay?
My father was in the Lions Club, and the Lions Club had a homestay program with many different countries around the world with other Lions Club members. Their members would host people.
Yeah, Lions Club is pretty big here. You'd be surprised to know.
Much bigger, I think, here than it is in the United States, actually, in terms of membership. But at least it was then.
Right. It's still here.
So I came to Kobe for 6 weeks in the summer when I was in college, and came here and everything just fascinated me. Everything was so different.
And you were 18?
I was 18 years old at the time. Right.
Okay. And did you learn anything in this first?
At that time, I knew nothing. Knew zero.
But after 6 weeks, did you actually learn anything?
You know, I learned basic stuff. You know, good morning, and you know, that was very delicious. Or you know, I always wanted to make my host mother feel good, and I would, you know, oishikatta. You know, oishikatta. Let her know that I enjoyed her cooking and all that stuff. But I left without much actual practical knowledge of any Japanese. But it piqued my interest in wanting to.
Right.
At that point, I realized I wanted to go in a trading business or some sort of international trade.
Right. And now you sell humans out of China.
Right, exactly. But I broker, you know, weapons and women and drugs.
Yeah. And well, the homosexual male market, gay market, slave market, I think it's
very profitable.
We better step away from this subject. Kurt, you know, I'm just joking. PJ contact.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, actually,
by the time this posts, we'll have already met, and I've gotten your application in.
The other thing was, hold on. So first thing is motivation. A lot of you guys think, okay, I'm just going to learn Japanese by watching a couple of videos or anime and manga, but you know, you really got to be motivated because after that you went back to the States.
Correct. Went back home and realized this is something that really interested me, and so I wanted to learn Japanese. Wanted to go into trading, and partly it was while I was here, people would tell me how America, at that point, Japan the economy was booming, the U.S. economy was, you know, shaky. They were buying Rockefeller Center and you know, all the famous golf courses.
It was like 1980.
The late 80s, 87. That was 86, 87.
So I came in 1992, I think, or 3, I forget, but.
So I wanted to be one of those, you know, they complain, you know, you Americans don't speak any foreign languages. How are you supposed to do well in international business if you can't speak a foreign language? So I said, I'll show you. I'll go learn a language. You know, I'll go learn Japanese. So it was a motivation.
So you went back to the States?
Went back to States.
Back to college?
Back to college.
So actually you were finishing up high school then?
I was already out of high school. I'd already started college.
Okay.
It was during the summer vacation.
between
freshman and sophomore year in college, and began taking Japanese after that. So I took Japanese for 3 years in college.
And during that time, did you go back to Japan?
During that time, I did go back once. It's a long story, but I did go back once prior to really having a whole lot of knowledge.
And the pregnancy test was negative.
Correct, so that I could come
so
back.
You came back. It wasn't your baby.
Right.
Didn't look like you.
Right. I had no visa issues. Right.
So you went back. So that's important because the reason I mentioned the university stuff is you can learn Japanese in the States.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're still in college or you have that access, that is the best foundation to start with, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I went to the Nagoya YWCA, and one thing that, and I'll send this video to you guys. Hi Suzuki-san. So that school is criticized by some foreigners because they're very anal about grammar. And I think one of the most important things if you're going to learn Japanese is get the grammar down in the beginning. Really get that down because
once you are where you are, it's hard to go back and relearn it.
That was my problem. So I kind of learned the first year I spent studying by myself, and so my grammar was weak, but my conversational ability was very, very high. So they didn't know where to put me when I went to the Japanese school for the first time. After 1 year of actually kind of just learning by colloquially, studying by myself. But I guess in college in America, you don't have that opportunity of...
We don't do a whole lot of speaking, kind of like it is here. I mean, you do a little in class, but you don't have much practice. It's all, book learning. First you read in Romaji, and then they move you on to the kana, and then slowly introduce kanji at the time. But you're learning your grammar, and they're real strict about the teaching.
Right, so the most important thing for you, those of you who are interested in Japanese, in the beginning, I think, if you really want to attain a fluent level, is you got to get the grammar down in the beginning. And I think anyone who's watching this, who's learned Japanese, like Chane Review, Abraham, or some of those other good speakers, who else is good? John from Fat Blue Man. Tom Fallon, all you guys, tell me what you think about this too. PJ, Kansai. Who else is a good speaker? Tokyo Sam sucks.
11 Colors.
11 Colors, very good.
He's very
Tokyo
good.
Sam, just kidding. Stay black.
Stay black.
What does that mean? I see you writing that comment around here. Actually, I could leave a list. You know who's good? Claytonian is pretty good.
Claytonian
is pretty good, actually. Yeah. So I'll try to leave a list of Japanese bloggers on the side there for those of you who are interested in watching. That's another way to pick it up casually too. But yeah, if you want to attain a very high fluency of Japanese, the first thing you need is grammar. So then you went back to Japan?
Yeah. So then after I graduated from college, I was very fortunate. I had a professor who knew a president of a company, large company here in Japan, and he knew my interest because I was involved in his Japanese history classes.
So you owe him a lot. Okay. Actually,
I do, absolutely. I mean, he helped.
I'm not joking.
He helped me start my way, and so anyway, he introduced me to a president of a company here, who he had met through interviewing for his books that he'd written on Japanese military history. And,
military history.
He's a Japanese. He's passed away now, but he was a Japanese professor. Was a military history specialist. Very renowned for knowing Japanese military history. And,
so that's another thing that's important in Japan is, for those of you who ask me about jobs and stuff, is connections.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, you basically need to know somebody.
And it's just about getting out to people and talking to people. Who do you know? Or joining clubs or joining groups that may lead you to an advisor who knows somebody or that sort of thing. And that's kind of how I fell into it. But anyway, I got the job and entered a Japanese company as a local hire in Tokyo, and was.
What do you mean a local hire? What is that?
Well, as opposed to an expat.
I see.
I got all the benefits. I got the health. I got the whole package that a Japanese hire would get. I wasn't just a temp per se.
You weren't just a Gaijin monkey.
Right. Exactly.
A lot of the companies will hire just a foreigner to kind of help out with translation and stuff, but
they're not an official employee. They're kind of like 1099 is what we call it in the U.S., where they don't have any of the company benefits.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, there's a lot of those positions here where my students will say they work. Like I have some students who work for Toyota, 40 or 50, 60 hours a week, But they don't consider themselves a Toyota employee.
They're not quote unquote full-time employees.
And they get no bonus and no health
right.
benefits and stuff like that.
So I was a part of that. And they threw me into an office. I stayed in the company dorm. So I was with all the young single guys who had just entered the company.
Right.
And then in my office, they didn't speak any English. I mean, they all could understand, read or write, but they didn't speak any English. So submersion was really what did it for me.
Right.
It was a sink or swim, and I had to pick it up.
And that was the first year?
First year.
So after 3 years of college, how was that first year?
Oh, very tough. I mean, every day I had a notebook with me at my desk, and whenever I would hear something I didn't understand, I would write it down. And when I had a minute, I'd go look it up and make a note. At the same time, I was practicing my writing, so I'd write it in Romaji, English lettering, hiragana, and katakana, with the definition next to it.
I'm jealous.
And so I was very diligent about doing stuff like that. Now, at that time, I didn't have much responsibility, so I had time to kind of do all this stuff while I was learning the ropes. So I was in Japan for a year before they transferred me to a different office back in the United States. And so, but that 1 year is really, I mean, being submerged in a Japanese-only environment is where I picked up our stuff.
You know, one of the problems or biggest complaints for people like me, or I think Fat Blue Man might agree, is that when you're over here, like the way I came over, which I just came over not with no job waiting for me. I came over and I knocked on doors in English schools, you know. And we were just talking about this before, but being an English school teacher is kind of a stigma attached to it because any loser could do this. Seriously, any loser could do that. I'm a little bit luckier in that I was able to raise myself to the cream of the crop of the losers. So, because I have my own school and I teach what I want, as you can see in this room here. This is one of the classrooms here. All the DVDs back here, and we teach movies in this school. And so we have I get to enjoy my job, not just teaching a textbook. But anyway, that's not the point. The point of the video, though, is that if you come over here as an English teacher, the chances of you don't really even need to pick up Japanese.
Absolutely not. You can survive without learning anything.
So for those of you who are just interested in women, no problem. Seriously, I mean, if that's the only point in coming to Japan is women, then you can survive, even if you're an idiot. So I guess this is a really great video. Cause
you're going to promote a bunch of influx.
You could be the biggest loser in the world, and you'd probably be okay in Japan, even if you're ugly and stupid and have no language ability. But
in fact, some girls might even prefer that you have no language ability.
Yeah, but if your goal is to pick up Japanese, coming over as an English teacher, I would say it's probably harder to do it that way.
I would agree.
I really pushed myself. I mean, I stayed at home with my dictionary so many nights alone, picking it up the first year. Luckily, I had a girlfriend who actually lived out of town, so I would only see her on the weekends. So I had a lot of time, with the book. But it's hard.
It is hard. You have to be diligent if you want to get it right.
Yeah, as an English teacher coming over. So a lot of people ask, what's the best way to pick it up? I guess you can pick it up wherever you are. Just find a good course.
And some people have a better or an easier time picking up foreign languages than other people. I mean, there's
like music.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. But like music, and this is something else I believe in. I don't know what you think about this, but even if you suck at it, if you keep practicing,
right,
you'll get it eventually. It's just like playing a guitar chord or the piano. Right. Some people are much more natural at it.
Some people do it or get it quicker than others, but you can all get there.
Yeah, just repetitive, right? The other thing was coming over. If you do want to come over, and your goal is to actually attain a higher fluency of Japanese, I'd say come over as a student, if you can. Right.
There are a lot of, assuming some of these people who are watching are in college or whatever, but there are a lot of exchange programs in amongst universities and stuff, and if you can get hooked up with one of those, that's the best. That's a great way to get started because that provides you an environment to study and practice and have fun all in the same.
Yeah, if you have that opportunity. But that's money. Whatever, it's going to cost you money in the end, right? The other option, I guess, would be to come over to a language school. There are some language schools, like the Nagoya WBCA, that offers a language student visa, which you have to apply to. But to qualify for that, well, for one thing, you have to pay, right, for the school tuition, and I think it's like $7,000 a year over there. $6,000 to $7,000 a year. I think you can pay in 2 or 3 parts or so, but I'm not sure about that. But either way, that's still one. That's going to cost you a lot.
That doesn't even include how much you have to pay just to live.
Right, and then on top of that, you know, and of course, I think they let you work a little bit to subsidize. Yeah. But I'm not sure how much. But it is possible to come over that way. And if your goal is to learn Japanese, that's the way to do it, not just to come over as an English teacher, which like I said before, any fool could actually do. If you do come over, like I did, come over with at least $2,000 or $3,000 and be ready to not get a job for 1 month and survive in some hotel or youth hostel until a job comes through. And they probably won't even pay you the first month. You'll have to wait for the second month before you get paid. So. But anyway, so this is a video basically just to answer some of those questions and to give you 2 very different, we're pretty high-level speakers. We both get by Japanese, and I think in a way you're better because you've retained a lot of your Japanese.
I've lost a lot of my vocabulary. That's the problem.
But how's your listening?
Listening's still okay. Just the vocabulary. I keep asking people.
And you've got one thing I don't have. You had the chance to work with men.
Correct.
All the time, so you understand that really tough male Japanese.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So for me, for me to understand that, I actually have to study bad Yakuza movies and old samurai movies.
But for a while, when I was dating
a man,
when I was dating and practicing my Japanese, right. I was told that my Japanese was a little bit effeminate.
Yeah.
And I got that a lot from the guys that I would be around. Yeah. You talk like a girl.
Yeah, I get that too.
Because I'm just copying, the girl I'm dating is Japanese. Yeah. So that's the other key is listening and copying. That's the other thing I tell people a lot. They ask me, how did you learn? I say, well, I just listen and copy.
Well, shadowing, you say in the
shadowing,
industry.
Okay. and because I had a hard time reading out of a book and book learning, I was much better at listening and just copying and copying situations. You'd be in a situation and you'd hear something, and then you just try to absorb it and copy it in this situation. I wish I had a good example for it, but and it makes sense if you think about how a child learns how to speak English. They don't, or how to speak a language when they grow up. How do they learn? They copy their parents. They don't know how to read until they're 5, 6, 7 years old.
I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually rewatching The Seven Samurai. After I haven't seen it for probably since I first came here, maybe 15 years or so. Right. And it's amazing to me that I can understand almost all of it now. Yeah. Now, of course, in some sections I have no idea. I've got to elbow my wife on. Whoa, what are you saying? But while I'm watching that, I see myself copying and imitating the way they're speaking. It's fun too. So it's another way. Okay, so anyway, I guess that's about it.
Sure.
Anything else we got to say? Oh, what's that guy's name? The Australian
Hiko Simon. His Japanese is great.
His Japanese is great. Yeah.
Hiko Simon.
I hate you, man.
He's either Australian or New Zealand. I
think he's Australian.
Yeah.
He's a really good speaker of Japanese. If you want to hear some Japanese from a foreigner, maybe I'm sure he's got some videos on how to learn Japanese. Yeah, I've seen them.
Okay.
So check out his channel too. We'll put links over here to the side, and I'll put links to Nichibei Trader's videos too. And he's got some really interesting stuff from videos that he took 20 years ago that he's now putting up for the first time, and he still looks pretty good. Considering
lost a few hairs, but
considering 20 years have passed. All right, thanks for watching, guys. That's a long video, but I'm sure those of you interested in this subject will watch all the way through. The other ones of you who watch this, if you watch this far and you have no interest in this, what is wrong with you?
Why are you still watching?
Don't complain about this video being long. All right, see ya.